Thinking about starting a new chapter in your life with a brand new name? Well, whether it's a deeply personal choice, a shift in family dynamics, or just a fresh start, the idea of legally changing your name can definitely feel a bit overwhelming at first. But you know what? It really doesn't have to be. In this explainer, we're breaking down exactly what you need to know to change your name legally in Georgia. We're going to make this whole process as simple and clear as possible by walking through the exact legal steps the state requires. Here is a quick look at our roadmap to your new identity. We'll be covering 1. Preparation and initial steps, 2. Filing the legal petition, 3. Navigating the court hearing, 4. Updating your official documents, 5. Minors and special circumstances, and 6. Pitfalls, FAQs, and resources.
Okay, let's dive right into part 1, preparation and initial steps.
So, before you ever think about stepping foot inside a courtroom, we have to make sure you actually qualify and have your paperwork completely in order. To file as an adult in Georgia, you've got to be 18 or older. Crucially, you must also have been a resident of Georgia for at least 6 full months right before filing, and you'll be filing in the county where you currently live. Now, obviously, the court wants to make sure this change is happening for the right reasons. That means you absolutely cannot be changing your name to evade debts, defraud creditors, or, infringe on anyone else's rights. To prove you're in good standing, Georgia law actually requires you to get a certified criminal history report from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, the GBI, before you file anything. You're also going to need to have airtight, up-to-date identification ready to go. Go ahead and gather your valid Georgia driver's license or state ID, your birth certificate, and your current Social Security card. Oh, and if your name change is tied to a divorce or a marriage, you'll definitely want those decrees or certificates handy too. Getting all this sorted out early on is absolutely crucial. It prevents incredibly frustrating delays with a court clerk later down the line. Which brings us to part 2, filing the legal petition. All right, so your documents are gathered and you've got that GBI background check in hand. Now it's time to take action. This is the actual filing process at the Superior Court in your county of residence. When you get to the courthouse, there are 3 concrete actions you need to take. First up, you'll submit a petition for name change alongside a verification form. These have to be completely accurate. And heads up, most counties require them to be notarized. Second, you'll pay the filing fees. Now, these do vary by county, but if you can't afford them, don't panic. Just ask the clerk about applying for a fee waiver. And third, you'll be instructed to publish a notice of your petition. Now, what's really interesting here is this specific publication requirement. It honestly surprises a lot of first-time petitioners. Under Georgia law, you actually have to publish a notice of your intended name change in your county's official legal organ. Basically, that's just the designated local newspaper for legal announcements. This notice has to run once a week for 4 consecutive weeks. Once that 4-week run is officially up, the newspaper is going to issue a notarized publisher's affidavit. You have to take that physical affidavit right back to the court clerk as proof that you did in fact fulfill your public notification duties. All right, part 3, navigating the court hearing. Okay, so your petition is filed and your notice has been published. Let's guide you out of the paperwork phase and get you prepared for what happens inside the actual courtroom. Georgia enforces a mandatory 30-day waiting period, and that starts from the exact date you filed your petition. But, and this is super important, do not confuse this waiting period with your court date. Once those 30 days and the 4-week newspaper publication are all done, the court will set a final hearing. You have to attend this hearing in person. Make sure you arrive early, find your assigned courtroom, and bring all your notarized forms, your IDs, and that publisher's affidavit we talked about. Because if you fail to show up, well, the judge might just dismiss your case entirely. When you're finally standing before the judge, they're really looking for one main thing, that you have proper and reasonable cause for the requested change of name. They aren't just rubber stamping paperwork here. Now, uncontested hearings are generally quite brief. The judge is going to review your background check and probably ask a few quick questions just to ensure the new name is in the public interest and isn't being used for anything shady like fraud. If everything looks good, they'll sign a certified court order officially granting your name change. Moving right along to part 4, updating your official documents. Congratulations! Walking out of that courthouse with a certified order is such a great feeling. But hold on, the job isn't quite finished yet. Your new name doesn't just magically update across the world automatically. So the crucial point here is that there is a very specific order of operations you really should follow. Update your Social Security card first. Take your certified court order and your ID straight to the Social Security Administration. Getting that done first is like knocking over the lead domino. Once your new name is in their system, updating your Georgia driver's license at the Department of Driver Services becomes so much smoother.
From there, you can tackle your U.S. passport and finally notify your banks, credit card companies, and your employer.
Part 5. Minors and Special Circumstances. Now, what if you're a parent or a guardian looking to change a child's name, maybe after a divorce? Well, the whole framework shifts a bit here. Comparing the adult process to the minor process reveals some pretty strict legal safeguards. For an adult, it's mostly about avoiding fraud. But for a minor, the court's ultimate standard is determining the best interests of the child. On top of that, a minor name change usually requires written consent from both custodial parents. If one parent objects, the process gets significantly more complex, and a judge will have to heavily weigh all the evidence to decide what truly serves the child's welfare best. And here is a super specific nuance in Georgia law that you've got to know about. 14. If the child whose name is being changed is 14 years of age or older, they actually have to provide their own formal written consent to the name change. The court genuinely respects the established identity of older teens, so no, you can't just surprise them with a brand new last name.
And finally, Part 6, pitfalls, FAQs, and resources.
All right, we are in the final stretch. Let's quickly review some common mistakes that trip people up so you can make sure your process is entirely smooth. When looking at common pitfalls, the most frequent error by far is simply skipping the newspaper publication. People often just assume name changes are a private matter, but remember that 4-week public notice is absolutely mandatory. Another major hurdle is filing with a criminal record. If you have a felony conviction, you generally face some severe eligibility restrictions, and you're going to need to consult a lawyer to see if you can even get legal clearance. And finally, missing the court hearing. Look, traffic happens, but missing your time slot often means you have to start the paperwork all over again. Seriously, just arrive early. Now, if you have a complex case, let's say you're dealing with an objection from an ex-spouse regarding a minor, or if you simply feel like you need some professional guidance, these are your best resources. The Superior Court Clerk's Office can provide the specific forms required for your exact county, and the State Bar of Georgia can help connect you with qualified legal representation. Real quick, a standard but super important professional reminder. While this explainer gives you a really accurate, up-to-date roadmap based on state laws, local county rules and regulations do occasionally change. Attention to detail is vital here. Always, always verify the exact forms and fees with your local clerk, and consult a legal professional for personalized advice regarding your specific situation. A name change is such a powerful step in defining your identity and shaping your future. Now that you understand the legal steps, the preparation, and all the documentation required in Georgia, you have the knowledge you need to move forward with total confidence. Your new chapter is literally waiting. So, what will your new name be?